spot, which was simply, it's advocating the position of a town department to the taxpayers. But with that said, I don't mind being a sole opposing vote.
The last time we talked about advocacy, we were only talking about who's gonna pay for the postage.
That's right.
And because of the structure of this mailing that we anticipate, there's no incremental cost to including this.
Then I will vote in support.
So I would recommend that we vote in support of including this in the envelope. Mr. Alstead.
The statement about the insurance, in all the previous meetings, we've always said, well, it doesn't affect the insurance, whether you have one vehicle or three vehicles or whatever, so.
I think that's accurate, but I think it has more to do with the value of the fleet. Certainly. That's a variable.
Are you proposing we just strike cost of insuring, or? I have no issue with that if it's.
Just because I've been at a lot of meetings,
We
it's always
don't.
been said, it doesn't matter, insurance is insurance, doesn't matter if we add another $100,000 excavator, we still pay the same amount of insurance.
We certainly believe that that is true.
When we get a new truck, we just put the new truck on, and we get no more bill.
Right.
So I put my dump truck on?
No,
Did I get town plates for my
High
dump truck?
insurance, they can do that.
well, I don't know how.
So just being consistent with statements that have been made in the past.
Well, that's never been a problem for us. You guys think we should strike the line about insurance?
I'm fine with that.
And comments from MSG about, is that controversial?
I don't think it'll be controversial, but I don't know that it's factual, so.
How about in the absence of facts, we
would tell that it would affect the insurance.
we agreed to strike that and just enclose this mailing and keep moving forward?
Would you able to make that change?
Yep, I think I can, I think you can.
If you can't, well, yeah.
You okay with that, gentlemen?
I'm good
And
with
Madam? So let's consider that a done deal. We have communication from the select board, a communication from budget committee, and a communication from emergency management.
What was the final version of the budget committee
Well, the final version will be, this will be
on? I
the
brought that for,
thing that's voted on tomorrow at your meeting.
okay, so the Alstead residents stayed in there?
So the select board has accepted this unanimously, or almost, 2-1, actually. Right?
2-1.
We accepted this 2-1, rock in opposition, honorable. I understand completely where you're coming
I
from.
don't know how many times we have to slice that up and rewrite it, have it read the same damn thing.
Well, that's why they call it democracy, because it's so ugly.
I just have one comment about the MSG mailer, is that, in my opinion, and I don't know if the committee would agree with me, but I don't consider that to be advocacy, I consider it to be an explanation. And I think if you wanna have committees like the MSG and the AABC, then, you know, that's what they're really there for, is to recommend and in some cases advocate for these things, so.
I agree, and that's why I switched my vote. Jill had reminded me that my earlier opposition was whether we would pay for a separate mailing. In other words, any department who wanted new toys could say, well, I want to do sort of an advocacy email or mailing at town expense. Because this is going in with everything else, I really don't have an objection to it. That was what I had an objection to. And I'm dog tired, so my mind's moving very, very slowly.
And to be fair to the advocates, the difference between advocacy and explanation is vocabulary. And the great news is, we're not actually disagreeing about the important fact, which is, by all means, put it in the envelope.
Right.
Let's just do that. So while we're talking about important things, who's got a copy of the school ballot in front of them? Essentially, item number 9, which was by petition, advocates a return to the traditional ADM taxation and funding balance that predates the existing appropriate apportionment formula for the town of Charlestown only. and I have not spent very much time studying this issue, but I can't think of a single reason why I would be in favor of that for one town. I might be in favor of it for all 5 towns, but certainly not for one town within the existing apportionment formula. So I proposed to my brother selectmen, and I think they've agreed, although this is the time to say yea or nay, that we communicate to the voters that we think this is a terrible idea, and that folks should vote against it. Just a couple of sentences, I don't need a big long rant, although I'm sure I could generate one based on my history with the committee that created the current apportionment formula. Do you remember the myth of Sisyphus? Where that guy pushes that rock up the hill and then it rolls down over him? I remember that part too. So are we in agreement with that proposition? Rock's nodding his head.
Yes.
Any discussion from the public? This is advocacy on our part. You could argue that it's none of our business, except that we are part of the school district and we're paying,
I will tell you
21%
that
of the
Alice
bill.
also did the same thing.
regardless of what Ackworth and Langdon did.
Yeah, and Langdon's doing it too.
This
This town-
benefits us this year, doesn't it?
Yeah, it benefits
Yeah.
you, but
Yeah.
it really isn't going to. And what it is the state has already made up for this, because they get more money per kid from the
Are you
state.
speaking as a school board member now? Or just an angry
Well, I'm
Ackworth
just,
voter?
no, I'm just telling you how it works.
No, are you speaking as a school board member?
Yes, a school
Okay.
board member and also a resident of
Because
Akron.
we expect you to understand this issue
Right.
better than we do.
Right.
All I've seen is the print, I haven't seen any discussion or followed anything in the minutes.
The state makes up for this in adequacy aid. They are, well, I think it's printed right in what they sent out, but per kid, Charlestown with their adequacy aid only pays $9,000 a person. The other end of the spectrum pays 13 or 14,000.
And that's Ackworth.
Akron, I think, is,
Actually,
Alstead.
Alstead's up there now too, about
Right.
14, almost 14 now.
right, so it's like double dipping.
Yeah, it almost makes you realize
Well,
that's what's
we're not in
going on.
disagreement about what we want to do, and we probably shouldn't invest a lot of time
No.
in discussing the history of the current apportionment formula and this somewhat transparent attempt to end run around it. Adequacy aid, for people who haven't lived in the state and fought this battle for 100 generations, is the state's attempt to balance the fundamental inequality in the property tax system from town to town. They're not saying,
In evaluation.
you know, the same building in Alstead will be worth a different amount of money in Langdon, even though if it's just 100 feet away. And the state has a program that some years is funded and some years is litigated, and will be litigated again and funded again before we die. That is an attempt to equalize that. They used to call it equalized valuation, but
And it's going down anyway.
we spent
every year.
zillions of dollars litigating this over the last 25 years, or 35 years.
Funding for each town in this area is going down.
Yeah, anyway.
4%.
And I
4%
predict
there.
that funding for every town will continue to go down.
Well, no, it's what
It's
they're doing is
every-
equalizing it back out, because the other towns that grew too fast, they said, no, we're not gonna give you all that money, we're gonna still distribute that too. So now they're equalizing it out, so those
So-
towns are getting more. and
So it is
less.
controversial, and it is subject to the whims of
Like-
who's ever in the legislature and who's ever on the state Supreme Court. It's both passed muster and failed muster within the last decade. It's not simple and it's not good public policy, but it's what we got, so we're gonna make it work. And in this case, this select board is gonna communicate to the voters that we think Article 9 is gonna be properly voted down. That's our piece.
And the budget committee will take a vote on it.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Assuming that's appropriate, I did email you that.
So I had sent this discussion, or my version of this discussion at the budget committee, and Carol said, you know, if you guys want to take a fly at this, by all means. It's certainly a money item, if not this year, then in another year, I can imagine a situation where it was a terrible surprise. So we're good. And you'll communicate with Linda on those 2 items?
Thursday morning, quick enough for you to get.
Yeah.
And the folding ladies will be here.
right? You were doing Thursday?
Well, that's what I said, yeah, Mary Ann
Mary
said
Ann.
she would come up and down too. I said, let us start running them, then you come down, you guys come down and you can start pulling them, give us an hour or so. Do you want me to put each one on a different color paper?
Well, that would be so much fun. Just visually, you know, that whole.
I think you should do whatever you
That
best.
way we also wouldn't get confused.
What,
I think 10,
Yeah,
9:30, 10, whatever. I'll start running when I get,
when you get up and running.
you need our vote?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
I'll
But
try to-
easily done.
I can
I like it.
email it to you tomorrow.
I like the way we're doing this. Appreciate your patience, everyone. Especially with the flying edits. So that's pretty much the end of my list. Except for Polly DuPont wrote us a nice letter. Who's got the blue folder? I'll just read it, it's really short.
and I did not say anything to David, so
Oh, well, I have a surprise for you, David.
I forgot it.
Polly DuPont's lived here for 100 years, up on Cook Hill. Is it still Cook Hill when I go to White House?
Yep.
Dead End Road, in the pucker brush. 18th February, there is a desperate need for signs at the junction of Main and Mechanic Streets. At that curved intersection by the library, semi-trucks come up by the fire station and then must turn around in the Comstock Road area because of the 6-ton double lane bridge. And even if there were a viable bridge there, the road beyond it to the crossroads of Cook Hill Road and Drewsville Road is not a road that inspires confidence for heavy trucks. It always looks as if it's going to crack down the middle and slough onto Darby Brook. I've never understood why they think, I think they is you, that they are accomplishing anything anyway. Oh no, maybe they is the truckers. And there are several last year that came up, all the way up onto Cook Hill, thinking that they would get through the 12A, which is really crazy.
Well,
And I-
GPS tells them to.
Well, that's why
Well,
Road Road at the other end has dead end now.
I can say this because I am one, truck drivers are dumb. And if the phone says,
Yeah,
go,
go.
and your dispatcher says, hurry up, you're turning up Cook Hill Road and expecting to come out on 12A in about 4 miles.
Do the same thing on Griffin.
And that hasn't been true
Try to get
for
fast.
125 years.
There's no sign that says
So-
not through road, is there?
So,
Dead end.
it does say dead end, which, you know, but I think what Holly's asking for, and we can evaluate tonight or table, as you recommend, is a 6-ton bridge ahead sign for either end of that road. I don't think that's controversial, and actually, I think we should have seen that coming. She says in her final paragraph that just this last week I encountered 2 large semi-trucks. The road between the fire station and Comstock Road is windy, narrow, and very unpleasant to meet a mad truck driver on it. And you can see the steam and the smoke coming out of their ears as they come back down. So, hopefully the town budget can support these signs, and I would be happy to donate, listen to this, I would be happy to donate funds if necessary. Best regards, Polly. So, I don't think it's necessary that we ask Polly to pay for these signs, gentlemen. What do you think? Can we go ahead and authorize the installation of a couple of 6-ton bridge ahead,
I don't.
no through trucks kind of signage?
You can do all that, but all the materials coming out of Garland's pit and going both directions. That's what she don't get.
Well, that's why we have public meetings. So there's the gravel pit that the town uses to
Yeah.
generate all of its sand and gravel is up that road.
That's what she's needing.
That's what she's meeting.
But you've seen semi-trucks or just triaxle?
Everything, because they're hauling stuff to Vermont. All,
Not if they're going up Cook Hill.
they're not going up Cook Hill. They're going out Comstock Road to Drewsville to take to Westminster and Dulles Falls.
And so you're the professional at the table. Which way do you think they should go? Because we can affect that.
Either way they want to
In
go.
the-
It doesn't make any difference.
In the interest of protecting the town's infrastructure, should they not turn right when they leave the gravel pit and come this way?
No, they should go the other way. Because they're not coming down from Friendly Meals, and they're not coming into this intersection, and they're not bothering nobody doing that. You know, they're gone. And they're on a hill road for a third of a mile, and they're gone. Whereas if they come this way, they're half a quarter of a mile.
So given Paulie's communication, which I think is pretty clear, do you have a recommendation?
Not really, I mean, we can put up 6-ton things ahead for people that aren't coming out of that gravel pit, but that's where 90% of the stuff is going to and from.
Well, it would catch the wayward logger.
Yeah.
If I may, in Vermont, when I was working tropical storm Irene, there was the dead end sign, and below it was a sign that looked authentic, state manufactured, whatever, that then qualified it, your GPS is wrong. I swear to God, it was, it
Well,
was dead end and right there, but, and it was, I could, would've kept going.
so if David's assessment is accurate, then that's not what our problem is.
Right, that's,
It's not the Russian truck drivers from Long Island who are trying to find Bascom Sugar House. We see them up on Prentice Hill.
Or on Camper.
Or Camper.
but I would like to know how them yellow barrels got in the middle of the road all tipped bottom side up Monday morning.
Why are you looking at me?
Just,
They have any school
you
bus?
put them there.
Did they have any school bus paint on them?
No,
There you go.
I don't know, I think it must have been kids. Drinking. That's
Well, they're all
they
filled
did.
with sand. It'd be hard to tip over.
They were hard to pick up too.
So, 6-ton bridge ahead.
Yeah.
Your GPS is wrong, I like that, but I don't think it'll help in this case.
It's a good one though, I'd love to see it
So let's-
scattered around town.
Let's do that.
Water Road, Cook Hill,
Yeah,
Griffin Hill.
though I haven't seen any trucks since I'm border, since the.
I would certainly support that signage as well, and if you could put a price tag on it, then the rest of the select board could decide if they thought it was just a smart-ass response to a non-existent problem or a good piece of public policy.
You have no idea how many tractor trailers we've dragged off from Griffin Hill because they get up there and they can't back up. They're straight ahead truck drivers. Yeah.
Have to pay the tow bill, and then.
They do.
They will not go.
Reeds,
Okay.
all there, yeah.
That's the township people.
But it screws up everybody's
Yeah.
getting up there and down there.
Thank you. Do you post the road?
Yeah, they're all posted.
So let's tell the internet, the town roads are posted. It's spring. Well, when it happens. The roads will be posted by the time it gets on the internet.
They are posted.
They're posted. They're posted. It's in
It
the
was in the
paper and
paper
the
last
last
week.
signs.
Red Sox are in Florida and the town roads are posted, so stay home with the big trucks, or we'll find out, especially if you get stuck.
For what?
Maintain their own down
Yeah, they maintain their own, they don't care.
So did you come with a particular piece of business in mind? Something we can help you with?
We've been hauling gravel and grading and fixing roads.
I saw the new Walpole road agent the other day, and he said he'd come over to meet with
He
you
has
guys
been over,
to
yeah.
talk about sharing trucking
Yep.
materials, which I
Yep.
thoroughly support. Historically, we've been doing this with Westmoreland and who else? You do the list.
Ackworth, Marlow.
The gist of it is that
We're
when
gonna
one
be
town
doing it in
has,
Langdon.
when one town is making gravel, the towns in this informal group get together and just truck.
Yep.
And then when it's your turn, this town will come and truck for you. No money changes hands, and it's certainly true that every year, if you paid attention to every mile and every gallon of fuel and every man hour, that one town would come out ahead. But if you do that for enough years,
It all
it
evens
balances, it all washes away, and the new guy in Walpole's gung-ho, which I think is terrific. I don't know anybody in Alstead ever thinks we've been taken advantage of in the long term by this program.
Well, yes and no, because then they're not doing road maintenance.
Well, haul gravel is road maintenance.
So when you're hauling for other towns, and when you can hire a truck, a triaxle.
Well,
which
I
moves-
encourage you to do the
moves
numbers
around.
on that.
Well, it's no way to find out because nobody keeps track of the time.
Well, we know the days, and we know the number of loads. So if you did want to write another spreadsheet, data would be there for you. I'm not
You know,
suggesting that you
it's
do,
expensive.
but if you're interested, it's certainly an analysis that somebody would find beneficial.
And not all of our trucks are doing this, it's one or two here or there, it's, you know, the rest of us are all still doing our normal work.
Especially when we got a bunch of old trucks.
Great.
They break down, you can spend 10 grand on a truck breaking down and haul somebody else's gravel. And then all your profit goes out. Cost savings go out the window.
it's a risk that we've proven willing to take over the last 25 years or so without terrible disasters occurring, which is no guarantee that your next disaster isn't tomorrow. And I guess that's all I have to say about that. Unless there are other comments from the peanut gallery? I see you had quite a bit of water across the road last week.
Yeah,
Various
we may
places.
have some more tomorrow morning too, but we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it.
And those culverts we bought at the end of the year have been delivered?
No. As soon as spring gets here, they'll come drop them off. All you gotta do is make a phone call, they'll be here within a week.
The gravel crushing beds went
I
out.
haven't heard yet, and they're coming back on the 15th, I think.
There is a date for opening, but I don't remember what it is.
Okay,
Linda and I said it without consulting with anybody.
okay.
Actually, if it's the 15th, we're gonna have to change that. No, that's right, it's the 8th next week.
Yeah, we picked a Tuesday.
That's right, it's the Tuesday.
Next Tuesday,
Next Tuesday.
all 5 of us have gone to school in Hillsborough, just so you know where we're at. We'll set up voting on Monday, we'll be gone on Tuesday, tear down voting on Wednesday.
What you gonna learn about?
MSHA, just,
I saw the sheet go by.
yes,
So MSHA is the,
we do that
the
every
group
year.
that regulates mining and turns out gravel pits. And so it has come to pass, whatever you think about overarching federal bureaucracy, it has come to pass that if you're going to be an employee of somebody at the gravel pit, you're gonna take this training. Whether it's the town or the contractor or
Yeah.
anybody. And they do, I happen to know from my work with the Fuzzies, they do actually have an active inspection program.
Yes,
It's
it's
not an empty threat from Concord, it's a real threat. And you will have your card, even though it's not a mine. It's sort of like a mine.
They probably lump them together with mines and gravel pits, because a lot of gravel pits
Yeah.
use explosives.
Same thing like the quarry up and out there.
Well, it's a less stringent when you're above ground, but it's the same agency. And I've run into them, and they're not irrational, they're not mean or terrible, it's like, well, have you thought about this?
I used to work with them a long time ago.
What else have we got for tonight, ladies and germs? What have I forgotten?
Overtime.
I'm already overtime, I wanna be home
It
now.
doesn't look overtime. The last couple of weeks, we've seen overtime from a couple of employees.
Yeah.
And I know we have had a little bit of snow and things like that.
the only overtime that you're seeing is when things are broke, you know, you get fixed, then we're on the road. That's where it's coming from.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Is there any way to offset that overtime with, take off a half day this day because we did this, or?
It's usually on a Friday when they should be taking it off that things have gone to crap. So we fix it and we're ready to go for Saturday or whatever.
Alright.
That's all it is. It's not anything.
So anyway.
Or sometimes he's worked the whole week and it snows on Saturday, he's down here shoveling sidewalks Saturdays, so.
Last year was probably the roughest winter we've had in a long, long time. Our time to date was $12,000. This year has been about the mildest time, in a long time that I can remember. We're up to about $119,000. We're almost even on our part-time.